Saturn and the Devil. NASA with former Axis members from World War II. Area 51 and aliens. Baconator with cheese. All of these things go together, despite us being told otherwise. Now, everyone knows about the popular UFO crash in Long Beach, California, where a UFO crashed into a building, then the government covered it up. Then there's also this more obscure UFO crash that took place in Roswell, New Mexico, in which the United States Air Force came out and said that it was just a weather balloon. The thing is, one of these did not actually happen, and the other one is a more believable conspiracy. I mean, who knows? According to the internet, the US is actually good at crashing stuff into buildings. And everyone knows you can't lie on the internet. It's the place of information. Now, jokes aside, I want to talk to you about a lesser known UFO crash, what led to it, and what may have happened after that. The Atomic Energy Commission had conducted the 9th series of atmospheric nuclear tests in the Nevada Proving Grounds from March 19 to June 20th in 1953. 11 nuclear tests were made. One of them was an atomic artillery projectile, 3 of them were airdropped, and 7 were detonated on towers at around 300 feet in height maximum. It involved 20,000 Department of Defense members, and engineer Arthur Stanzel has said that he was tasked, along with other scientists, to recover a secret experiment that had crashed. In June 1973, respected UFO researcher Raymond Fowler brought to public attention the story of a UFO retrieval hidden from the public. On May 21, 1953, in Kingman, Arizona, United States, a 30-foot wide and 3.5 feet high metallic or aluminum-like, reports vary on this, oval shaped with portholes UFO type thing had crashed about 8 miles northeast of the Kingman airport. There were reports of witnesses saying that they saw a fleet of 8 flying saucers in a dogfight near the time of the crash, and reports from investigators say that a team of about 40 scientists were sent to the scene to investigate this entire thing. Stanzel was among them and concluded that the craft struck the ground at 1,200 miles per hour and was weirdly not damaged at all. He even described the object by saying, quote unquote, "It was like a teardrop-shaped cigar." Now, theories suggest that the nuclear tests might have been what caused this incident, but nuclear test dates didn't line up with the reported date of the crash, and multiple tellings of this have different dates, ranging from May 20th to the 23rd, and even just dating it to the week of May 19th. With this, there's about 2 tests that line up with this report. The first one, Shot Harry, which was planned for May 2nd, but was conducted on May 19th. And the second one is Shot Grable, or Grable, I'm gonna just say Grable, which was planned on May 21st, but was conducted on May 25th. Shot Grable might be the test that shot the UFO down, since it was the projectile test. However, Shot Harry has a good backing for it. You could say has a good backing for it, but it's because of the Judith Ann Wolcott Lost Kingman UFO letters. These letters mention Wolcott talking about seeing a nuclear test being set off on May 19th. Within seconds of the blast, the airborne object was seen moving super fast downwards. This seems to give some sort of credibility to something going down, I guess. However, Wolcott says that she was 175 miles north of Kingman and saw something fall from the sky within seconds. You know, Nevada Proving Grounds to Kingman, Arizona is, according to Google, 349 miles apart. That's a 5-hour distance, and in my terms, that's literally like going from Los Angeles to fucking buttfuck Sacramento. Why would you do that? Do you know how fast that fucking UFO would have to go to fall within seconds for 349 miles? Just ain't no way she saw something. I'm sorry, dude. Like, ain't no fucking way you saw something. That's just a tangent that I really have to get out of the way due to all the info we have on this. Now, moving on. This word is so hard to say. Metallurgist? I said it right. Leonard Stringfield spent about 2 days to come to the conclusion that not only was this not from America, but it was also not from Earth, thus making them illegal aliens. Bodies were recovered. Reports say that it was around 2 to 4, but let's just average it to 3. And the government came and scooped them up, kind of like how your girl comes and scoops me up because I can't drive. They were reportedly taken to either Area 51 or Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio. Can you believe that? Ohio. Wild. The bodies were described as 4 foot tall, brown skin, large heads, and silver metallic suit. Sadly, they all died except one, and his name was J-Rod. Now we can talk about the man himself, or rather, the alien himself, J-Rod. And I won't lie, I thought his name was Jared, and that would have been funnier because I'm Jared. I mean, I suspected it was J-Rod too, but whatever, Jared would have been funnier. However, with this, we gotta learn a certain term first. The term, or the acronym I should say, EBE, I'd like to just say EB because that's cooler. This stands for extraterrestrial biological entity. Instead of the term alien for this entire story, we'll just be saying EB. That's just the term they use for them, I don't know. Now, how's that for a vocabulary word, Miss Williams? J-Rod was an EB that worked at Los Alamos National Laboratory during the late 70s and early 80s. It was also said that J-Rod had worked at Area 51 as well. And all of this was for a secret agency within the US government. What was his job, you may ask? J-Rod was said to help humans understand how this UFO technology works, a technical advisor of sorts. It said that J-Rod is said to be a gray alien, despite reports mentioning brown-skinned bodies, but it's 2023 as of me doing this, and we nowadays race swap our characters. There are a couple of images that are related to J-Rod himself, though. The first one is this one. This one actually shows him being brown, and shout out to all the brownies out there. Unfortunately, this is a special effects prop made by Steve Johnson, who's done works for movies such as Ghostbusters, I Am Legend, Spider-Man 2, and most importantly, I cannot stress how important this is, Anaconda. This picture apparently went around the internet during the year 2000 after images surfaced on a website named fxmasters.com. Second image is one of a pilot whose face kind of looks like a gray alien, and it says Colonel Jared. 1, they spelled my name wrong. 2, I don't know where this picture comes from. But the most important thing about J-Rod, though, is that there are 2 completely different stories about who he was. Bill Uhouse was a former engineer and Marine Corps fighter pilot who said that he worked at Wright-Patterson and at Area 51 to reverse engineer alien aircrafts. Uhouse claims that in terms of technology, the US is working with an alien race. These aliens at the base were called EBs, and we all know who they were supposed to be. The Greys. Uhouse's supposed work was said to be on a project in which the scientists and engineers would build a flying disc simulator for pilots to test, which wasn't functional until the 1960s, apparently. I want to toss this in here since it's relevant now. Uhouse does mention Bob Lazar during his account, saying that what they used was and I quote, a space and a thing that looked like a reactor.
The thing that like Lazar calls the reactor, okay, we didn't have a reactor. We had a space and a thing that looked like the reactor, but that wasn't the thing we operated the simulator with.
Wild. Instead, they used 6 large capacitors to operate these flying discs. He actually goes into the design of these crafts, saying that everything that goes into its build is very interesting and intricate, that there's just no room to add anything such as, missile launchers or turrets, and that visibility was through cameras rather than windows. Now he gets into J-Rod. Uhouse claims that 4 aliens were recovered from the Kingman UFO crash, and they were sent to Los Alamos. Here, they were given a particular area for the aliens, and only certain people were able to work with them. Only one of them would talk to anybody, while the rest wouldn't do such a thing. It was said that they would use mental telepathy to communicate. It also says that they were able to speak but just seemed to choose not to. He claims that J-Rod was the EB's given name by a linguist and that Bill Uhouse himself had made and given a sketch of J-Rod to some people. Look at it. I'm not gonna lie, bro. This pose right here goes kinda hard. J-Rod would occasionally come into work on the project with this need to know group as a scientific advisor, kind of like how the original story of him says, a scientific or technological advisor. Although Uhouse's interactions with J-Rod were limited to just this, as far as I know, this is also just the first claim of J-Rod's existence. And I do mean the first because the second one is just insane. I used to fucking love it. Dan Crane, mostly known as Dan Burisch, was a supposed microbiologist who worked at Area 51. He claims that he had been hired around the mid-90s, which would make his story take place about 40 years after Bill Uhouse's story that took place during the 50s and the 60s, at least starting to. Both of them, however, came out with their respective stories around the year 2000. Burisch, however, states that he has never met an alien, but he has met an extraterrestrial. That's like me saying I've never met a beast of a woman, but I have met your mother. Burisch claims that J-Rod comes from the reticulum system and landed here in 1963 in Kingman, Arizona. So Dan Get in the Van Burisch says that after the crash, J-Rod became ill, saying that his physiology resulted in some problems with him. His interactions with J-Rod took place in a highly pressurized clean sphere in which he would usually step inside in some type of suit. His description of J-Rod is a little different from Uhouse's. He says that J-Rod was 3 feet tall, unusually large feet, large head compared to torso, brownish reddish skin, large black eyes, small mouth, and never clothed. So dude was just walking around all natural. They spoke through mental telepathy, and J-Rod would apparently project image to Burisch, and Burisch speaks about J-Rod as if they were very close friends, to the point where it's kind of uncomfortably close. But he also claims that J-Rod was actually very depressed about his essentially captivity, in a sense, and that he would actually weep in Burisch's presence about his state. After this is where this guy's story just gets fucking wild. Burisch claims that the Majestic 12 are the handlers of a large secret project that involves the Greys, and goes on to say that the Greys are just more J-Rods. And I just... why you gotta say it like that, dude? Why are you making it seem like there's multiple of one? I mean, there kind of is, but still. This project is about how to create what is called the Ganesh particle, which is essentially something that has healing and regenerative powers. Makes you fucking Deadpool or Wolverine, I guess. Burisch claims to have gotten this information from J-Rod after a mind meld with him, or mind merge, essentially. This is known as the Lotus Project, and Burisch claims that he has another faction called the Rogue Aliens that wants to kill him before he can create the Ganesh particle. So what happened to J-Rod now? Dude, I'll be honest, Burisch is so fucking hard to listen to. When he speaks, he leaves a lot of shit out, and he just jumps all over the place, especially when talking about J-Rod. Like, he backtracks and changes his story so fucking much. There's one interview where he's like, J-Rod was not a time traveler. Then, later in the interview, he's like, oh yeah, J-Rod is actually a future human coming back in time. It's like, motherfucker, you just contradicted yourself. Would say that J-Rod is a future human who came back in time to help humans avoid certain events. I kid you fucking not. He mentions the 2012 apocalypse, right? That fucking movie? Yeah, he mentions that. He wanted no one to see it. The fuck? I wanted to see it. Then he says that J-Rod came back in time to regain a genetic factor these future humans lost, which is most likely the penis due to implications. He said that J-Rod actually died shortly after the mind meld with him, then changes to say that he actually took J-Rod to a natural Stargate, right, a space portal that just so happened to be in Abydos, Egypt, and pushed him in through it and never saw him again. Right, apparently there are just man-made stargates on Earth that, when opened, would have killed 4 billion people on Earth in 2012. Like, this guy's story, when I first heard it, was fucking hilarious due to the amount of inconsistencies, but now, I'm just gonna say it, it's fucking retarded. Like, this dude is so frustrating, dude, I swear, like, there's no consistent story here. Even Bob Lazar came out and said,
It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
really quick though, which one of you has got Bob Lazar on their Dream Blunt rotation? I know one of you do. Here's Burisch's resume from 1991. Somehow the site UFOWatchdog.com got this shit. It like leaked apparently, and if this is real, it's more believable than his actual story. I swear to God, I hate this bootleg Vin Diesel. I usually don't give my opinion on the stories or the shit that I talk about, but I have so many problems with the J-Rod story, and 99% of them are because of Burisch. The Kingman UFO Crash, on the other hand, has very little to verify an actual event happening. Like, a newspaper report would have been enough to get me more on board with it. I don't know, it's really obscure. That's the thing. I think that's why there just isn't a lot of good stuff for it. I don't know. Even the letters don't do a good job of like verifying that something kind of went down, because that bitch's fucking claims are insane. Going into this, I knew the Dan Burisch story first, and then I had known about Bill Uhouse, but I didn't really know he also knew J-Rod. Going into this, I was really excited because I was like, how the fuck did they just get a premise that sounds kind of believable to a degree, I guess, but it starts off believable, right? But then it just turns into this fucking bullshit, and I'm like, man, this is why no one takes UFO shit seriously. Like, honestly, this was fun, and then I got to the Dan Burisch stuff. I always thought Burisch was fucking funny, but then the more I got into him, I just started hating him. Like, if I made a tier list, there would be an own Dan Burisch tier, and it'd be so fucking low. Anyways, that's it. That's enough for me shitting on this fucking alien. What am I touching? Alright. There's nothing else to say about this, really. It's such a weird theory that I'm just seeing pop up now, because like the History Channel first talked about it like very recently as of me doing this, and now it's kind of shooting up again, so might as well. Yeah, anyways, thank you so much if you suffered with me talking about Dan Burisch and the fucking alien that should have been named Jared, because that would have been funnier. Anyways, yeah, thank you, and bye.